Hi there, Jesse with etrailer. Today we'll be taking a look at and I'll show you how to install the Curt powered taillight converter on our 2025 Acura MDX. Adding trailer wiring like this is absolutely essential if you plan on doing any towing with your vehicle. It's going to allow you to be safe and legal out there on the road by powering your trailer's tail lights, the turn signals, and the brake lights. Here's what ours looks like installed today on our neighbor's vehicle. As you can see, it's just hanging here. You would have it like this if you were planning on hooking up to your trailer. But what's really nice about the way we have this installed is if you're not planning on towing anytime soon, you can just lift up this little storage cubby and keep it stored away in there. That's going to keep it safe from any dirt or debris that would be picked up by it if it were hanging from the vehicle. And that's really all there is to it. It's just absolutely essential to have if you plan on towing with your vehicle. It's going to keep you safe and legal out there on the road. As far as the install goes, it's not too difficult. We did have to splice into some wires. So if it's not something that you're comfortable with doing, or maybe you just don't have the time, the space, or the tools to do so, feel free to check out our dealer locator. However, if you are looking to get this hooked up yourself, feel free to follow along. I'll show you how we set up ours. We'll begin our install inside the hatch here. We need to get access to our wiring harness, so flip this out of our way, take this panel out, set that aside. Then we'll need to pop up this kick panel here. It should just be held in by some clips. Just have to find them. So just work your way along the bottom here, one side to the other. Then go to the top. It should pop out, and we'll set that aside. And right in here, we have the plug on the bottom here. You'll see it has a dummy plug that's not connected to anything. That's our factory tow wiring that we'll be splicing into. To get more access or make it easier to access the wires, I'm just going to pop it off from the back here, and down here this clip was already broken on ours, so it's fine. And then I'll flip it over here. We'll have to cut into this tape just to pull back some of this loom, so just get a knife or a razor blade. Just be careful not to cut into the wires when you're doing it. So I'll just work on cutting that back and peeling the tape so we can get access to our wires, and then we'll start testing them. I've already tested all of the wires, but just to give you an idea of how to do that, just because not all wiring harnesses are the same. Right now I have the left turn signal on, and putting my test light on the two brown wires, you'll see that it's flashing. That means those are the wires for the left turn. And then the two white wires are your right turn. Your single green wire will be a tail light, and your single gray wire is our brake signal. So those are the wires that we'll be splicing into. And on our tail light converter end, of course, we have our 4-pole wiring. That's to connect to our trailer. Goes through our module there. The white wire with the ring terminal, that's our ground. We'll be connecting that to a metal piece of the body just with a self-tapper. The black wire here will get extended out, and then we'll route it up to the engine bay where the battery is. Yellow is your left turn. Red is our brake signal. Brown is our tail lights. And the green wire, which you'll notice is kind of long, we'll cut that down. That's going to be our right turn signal. Now we'll just separate our brown wires from the rest of them and cut them. Just leave enough length on both ends to splice into. Then we'll get those stripped. These wires are pretty small, so just be careful. Get both of those stripped. And all of our connections will be the same. Our kit here will come with these quick connects, which you can use. You'll just put the wires in there and push that metal tab down with some pliers or something. I just prefer to use butt connectors. It's just personal preference, but if all you have is what came in the kit, then feel free to use those. I'll get this wire stripped. I'll tie these two around each other. And then I'll incorporate our yellow wire, since again the brown and yellow are both going to be left turn. Get those wrapped around each other. I had to go and get a larger butt connector because we're working with 3 wires. So we'll just slide all 3 wires in there and crimp it down. Make sure those are holding. And we'll do the same thing with the other end and crimp that into that butt connector. Once you have them connected, just give them a tug on all the wires because those small wires can slip out by themselves. And then we'll just repeat that process with the rest of the wires. So here's what all of our wires look like connected. It's kind of a jumbled mess right now, but I'll clean that up. As far as the ground goes, I found a threaded nut right here, and we just happen to have a matching bolt for that. However, if you don't have a bolt that'll thread it in there, you could just use the supplied self-tapper and screw it in somewhere there. As for the power wire, so the battery is in the front of the vehicle. However, we actually have a fuse box right here. And these fuse boxes almost always have some empty slots in them. So flip this around. We'll see. All we need is something more than 10 amps, and we can use a spade terminal on there. So I'm going to use the one right here that is 20 amps. So what I'll do is I'll extend this out just a little bit. I'll probably have plenty of slack that I'll cut off, and then I'll crimp a spade terminal onto it and connect it there. That's going to give us 12 volt power. So I routed our power wire under the carpet here, and then I kind of had to pull back on this panel to grab the wire from the back. Once I had that ready, I just took our fuse, which it comes with the wire connected, so I just cut it right down the middle, butt connected it to our power wire, and then on this end I put a spade terminal on, which is not included in the kit, but we do have some available here at eTrailer. Then from there, with our fuse, make sure your fuse is not installed. We'll just take our spade terminal and line it up with that prong on that relay. Slide it in, and now we can install our fuse. So you don't have to worry about damaging that fuse block at all, because this is a 15 amp fuse and this is rated for 20 amps, so we're good there. And now we are ready to test and make sure all of our lights are working. Now we've hooked up to our 4-pole tester. If you don't have one of these, we do have them available here at eTrailer, or you could hook up to your trailer to do some testing, but I'll just run through the lights real quick. This should be our tail lights, then our left turn, right turn, and brake lights. Now we just need to find a place to mount our control module here. I think tucked under these wires will be fine, so we'll take the included double-sided tape. It's got a little foam in it. We just don't want this thing banging around, so stick that on there good. Peel off the backing on the other side. And make sure your wires are out of the way. And get it pressed up on there. Now we have our interior mostly together. It's just gets put back together the opposite of how we took it off. You'll see we have it loosely hanging like this. This is the way I prefer to install it, just because if you're not constantly towing a trailer, then you have the ability to just keep it stored here out of the elements and out of view. But when you are hooking up to your trailer, you'll just pull it out and let it hang. The wires are designed to hang like this outside the vehicle, so you don't have to worry about damaging them when you're closing the lift gate. Other than that, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Curt powered taillight converter with 4-pole wiring on our 2025 Acura MDX.